Sorry, I had to do that since we just won yesterday, so I had to in at least one video. Might as well be this one since the SpongeBob ones aren't on camera. Anyway, welcome back to Malicious Station, which is just a fan thing with the animation, including TV and movies, and especially anime. I'm your local anime fanatic, Jackson Small. Welcome back to Slayer-Tember. Welcome to arc number 3 of Demon Slayer, the Asakusa arc. And this arc is actually a lot more simple and straightforward than I remembered initially. So, this should be a pretty short review. This shouldn't take too long, I don't think. So, without further ado or delay, let's get straight into it, shall we? Last thing from episodes 8 through 10. Yep. So it's only 3 episodes. And then the next arc is only 4, but has double the amount of stuff to talk about. So, yeah, we're going to have a lot to talk about with the Suzumi Mansion arc next time. But let's focus on this one first, shall we? So, Tanjiro restrains the demon that Muzan turned at the end of the last episode, as Muzan himself escapes quietly, and Tanjiro swears to hunt him down and make him pay for what he's done. However, Tanjiro does not kill this demon. He just restrains him. And Tanjiro refuses to get off of this demon because, obviously, he knows something a lot of other people don't know. So the cops are called in Asakusa, and they're getting ready to start beating him down with billy clubs. That is, until another mysterious demon uses some kind of blood art magic thing to create like a big force field of flowers around Tanjiro. And that is where we are met by Lady Tameo, who informs that she can save this demon because she's a doctor, but she's also a demon. But a lot like Nezuko, she won't eat humans. So, there's still that little bit of hope that you can trust her at first, and it's not until later you know you can actually trust her, and she's actually a good guy, despite being a demon. Then, while that's going on, Muzan ends up taking his anger out on a wandering family after the drunk son threatens him and starts calling him names. And he's already upset about there being a demon slayer in Asakusa, so you can imagine how pissed off he is. So he immediately kills them one by one very viciously. The mother especially, which he literally uses his own blood, pumps it into her brain, and turns her into just a puddle of blood. And she melts. It is horrific. You even see, the insides melt. It is, ugh. It is that kind of shit that I wish we saw in other anime like Attack on Titan. Seriously, AOT. If Demon Slayer can get away with this shit, you can get away with stop censoring your deaths in your anime. But, yeah, very vicious, brutal deaths. Then Muzan orders his 2 underlings, apologies if I mispronounce these names, again, uncultured American idiot here, Susumaru and Yahaba, to kill Tanjiro. Then, while that's going on, going back to the present thing, Tameo explains how she changed herself in Yushiro, affirming that they're not threats. Because after what happened at the incident, Tameo took that demon, put it in the basement, and then took the wife of the guy who got turned into a demon and used some kind of healing magic on her. It's not really super well explained. And while that goes on, Tanjiro goes back to get Nezuko, because he accidentally left her at this noodle shop from the last episode. And the other guy is a bit upset that Tanjiro didn't eat his food, so Tanjiro then orders 2 plates. 2 bowls, I guess you should say. Eats them, says thank you, says he enjoyed them, and then he leaves. And then that's when they run into Yushiro, who says that he was literally there just because he got sent by Lady Tameo to take them to their little hideout. Because apparently they're actually fugitives from Muzan, as we find out later. And, in a very funny little bit, Yushiro actually calls Nezuko the demon equivalent of ugly, causing Tanjiro to absolutely roast him the entire walk to the hideout. And the facial expressions are so anime that it is so hard not to laugh. It's genuinely funny. So then they're brought in through there, and they're brought to Tameo's place, where she explains that she changed herself multiple times to make sure that she only needs like a tiny bit of human blood to survive and not like feast on humans regularly. And she explains that Yashiro actually consumes less blood than her. And that she was actually one that changed Yashiro after, well, saving his life from a fatal illness. And she also explains that she takes the blood samples for her experiments and stuff from people that are injured, ailing, or on the verge of death anyway. So in a way, it's kind of like she's either helping them heal or ending their suffering. A lot like what Tanjiro does when he kills all these demons. Then, in another pretty funny bit, Tanjiro asks Tameo how old she is, resulting in Yashiro immediately punching him right in the gut. And then he smacks him around a few times until Tameo grills him. There's great character interaction all throughout this arc, seriously. Then Tameo agrees to help try to cure Nezuko using her doctorly knowledge, asking Tanjiro for both permission to study Nezuko's blood and get blood samples from higher up demons on, like, I think they call it the upper moons or something like that. Whatever they call the higher ranked demons that are closer to Muzan, to get blood samples from them to try and help in her research. Those are the two favors that she asks of Tanjiro. And then right as all that's going down, Susumaru and Yahaba end up finding them, which force a confrontation as the Tamara balls damage the hideout and go straight through Yushiro's little demon art spell that tried to keep them hidden, and ending episode 8. Then we go straight into episode 8 with the Tamara balls still flying all around the busted house, and one of them curves around and absolutely obliterates Yushiro's head. Yeah, we literally see his head explode. But Yushiro doesn't die, because he's a demon. He can only be killed if the neck is severed or if the head's cut off by a demon slayer's sword. Otherwise, they just regenerate. So, while he takes time to regenerate, Tanjiro struggles against these Tamara balls being thrown by Susumaru until Yashiro manages to lend him his sight, and he realizes that Susumaru's Tamara balls are being guided by Yahaba's arrows, which are giving like a specific pathway through each one. Like, it's a really interesting fight. It's one of the best fights in the show up to this point, easily. It's a great fight. Then Tanjiro and Nezuko battle these two demons, and the battle is fantastic. Both of them struggling even after swapping opponents, since these are much stronger demons than what they faced previously, yet again, escalating the stakes from the previous arc. And, of course, these demons are apparently higher up demons, the ones that Tanjiro needs to get samples for. Or at least so they say. We find out later that they're just lying out their ass. But it turns out that it's not their fault that they're lying. They were deceived by Muzan to think that they were one of them. So, yeah, Muzan literally manipulates his own kin to get what he wants. It's pretty fucked up, to say the least. Then Nezuko tries to kick one of the Tamara balls back at Susumaru, but ends up losing her leg in the process, and then, after a lot of battling and getting thrown around by arrows, Tanjiro manages to decapitate Yahaba, ending episode 9. And the whole process leading up to this decapitation is wonderfully well done, and the animation again by Ufotable, it just keeps getting better every single arc. Like, such amazing animation. After that, Nezuko regenerates her leg a lot quicker than before, thanks to Tameo giving her a little bit of medicine, which helps her regenerate faster. And now, Nezuko can actually kick the Tamara balls back at Susumaru without her leg being destroyed in the process. So it pretty much turns into a super intense game of soccer for a few minutes, which is pretty funny. However, Tanjiro is unable to help because even though Yahaba got decapitated, he still uses all his power to throw 1,000,000 arrows at Tanjiro, which forces him to literally use every single water-breathing technique in his arsenal just to avoid being ripped apart or thrown into the ground. Until Yahaba finally disintegrates, his plan failed, but Tanjiro ended up breaking a rib and a leg, so he's unable to help fight against Susumaru. So Susumaru is now left up to Nezuko, Tameo, and Yashiro to take out. And Nezuko is doing really good. She's continuously kicking the Tamara balls back at Susumaru, and she's doing a really good job. But it turns out, according to Lady Tameo, that she was not fighting at 100%. And that's when she decided to step in and use her little blood demon art thing by, the mist that comes out when she slits her arm. A lot like the mist thing that happens when Midnight uses her quirk in My Hero. And she manages to use this mist to trick Susumaru into saying Muzan's name. The one thing that she's absolutely not supposed to do, because he's supposed to be kept in secret. And once any demon says his name, and a curse is immediately activated that leads to their demise in one way or another. Which is why the swamp demon from the previous Kidnapper's Bog arc did not say his name. Because he knew if he did, he would be absolutely just destroyed in the worst way possible. But since Susumaru was tricked to say his name by Tameo due to her ability, yeah, you can see where this is going. She tries to flee and apologizes to the sky, obviously trying to apologize to Muzan, saying that she didn't mean to. And this leads to what might be the most gruesome, brutal, bloody, vicious, violent end of any anime that I've ever seen. Yes, that's even taking Michi from Attack on Titan and the numerous bloody deaths from Dragon Ball into account. Because Susumaru, now having activated this evil curse, has 3 giant muscular arms sprout from her torso and her mouth. And she's already bleeding heavily. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that then these giant 3 hands crush her head to pieces, then rip her entire body to pieces, until she's nothing but a blood puddle, and literally the only thing that's left of her is her clothes and her eyeball, and she isn't dead because it only destroyed her body and not her actual being. Think about that. Imagine the agony you must feel having your body destroyed by that, and even after that, you're still not dead. Literally, the only thing that remains to Tameo of Susumaru by this point is clothes, 1 severed arm, and her eyeball. That's it. The rest is just a giant pool of blood. It is gory, it is visceral, and it is one of the most horrific ends I have ever seen in an anime. It is some crazy, fucked up shit. So of course I absolutely love it and consider it probably the best death of the show so far, and will probably be at least top 5 by the time I finish the show, because this death was fucking awesome. And as a horror fan, a gore hound that loves that shit, that gave me what I wanted. It was such a cool ass death. Like, brutal as hell, but so damn cool. So, she doesn't end up dying until the sun rises, but Tanjiro gives her back her Tamara ball, puts it back in the vicinity of where her soul kinda sorta is, towards like the clothes, and says that he can't forgive her for what she did, but in reality, she probably is just a little kid. So yeah, it was a little kid that got demonized and did all this shit. Think about that. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Susumaru also had the ability to sprout extra arms, turning her into 6 arms from Ben 10. Kind of. It's anime. It's supposed to be as outlandish as possible, so you just learn not to question it. So, Tanjiro gives her back her Tomorrow Ball and holds the hand of her severed hand, and even laments about the fact that she was being manipulated the entire time by Muzan, and vows to absolutely destroy him for what he's done. Because if he didn't turn Susumaru, she probably would have gone on to live a full, happy life. So, once again, it's Tanjiro's empathy shining through despite almost dying, literally. Then, with that all done, he goes down to the basement where he finds Tanjiro finds Tameo, Yushiro, and Nezuko perfectly okay, all of them having regenerated. And obviously Nezuko goes to hug her brother Tanjiro because, it's her brother. And then she hugs Tameo like it's her surrogate mother, causing Tameo to cry because Nezuko now sees her as family. Oh, and she also pets Yushiro's head, which is a pretty funny moment there. But, yeah, Nezuko hugging Tameo, one of the most adorable moments I've seen in this show. It's so cute. Then the four allies part ways, with Tameo and Yushiro not having to go back into hiding again, so Muzan doesn't find them. And Tanjiro and Nezuko setting off on their next mission. And that's when Tanjiro finds Zenitsu, yeah, this guy's back again, in the middle of the road, upset that this girl is refusing to marry him. We're going to get a lot more Zenitsu in the Suzumi Mansion arc, so we'll save it for that. But that ends episode 10, and that ends the overall arc. And unfortunately, I forgot to type out a written review, so I'm kind of just going to give my off-the-cuff final thoughts here. This is a great arc for the show, 100%. Like, not only is it an introduction of Lamy Tameo and Yushiro, two really great characters that add more to the lore and the world building, but also two of the most memorable demons of the show up to this point in Susumaru and Yahaba, one of the best fights in the series against these two, and one of the most gruesome gory ends of any anime ever. Like, it is so damn... I cannot do it justice. It is brutal as hell. In fact, I want to take a minute to give recognition to Susumaru's voice actress in the English dub, because she's great in the dub. She's voiced by, let me find it here, Sarah Ann Williams. It's not a name that's really, yeah, I don't know that name. Like, I thought she sounded familiar, but now that I'm looking at it, I have no clue who this is. But she did a great job as Susumaru. Like, great job as Susumaru. I'm sorry I don't know more about you. I need to watch more of your material. But, yeah. Still, really good. And it was really cool to see your performance. And you did a great job, especially towards the end where she got really scared. Like, amazing job to the voice acting. Seriously. The voice acting in this show is really damn good. Okay, so I've discussed the pros, I've discussed the cons, let's go ahead and get down to the final verdict now. Oh wait, do I have any flaws with this arc? No, not really, because it's short enough that it doesn't overstay its welcome, and unlike the last arc where it felt like a detour, this one actually felt like a pivotal, important point in the show, so just by that metric alone, it is better than the last arc. But, once again, it's not 100% a fair comparison to put it against the first arc, the Final Selection arc. This Final Selection was 5 episodes, Kidnapper's Ball was 2 episodes, and this arc, Asakusa, was only 3 episodes. So it's not 100% a fair comparison. But what I can tell you is that this is probably going to go down as one of my favorite arcs in the show. I legit loved it from beginning to end. And I hope we get to see more Tameo sooner rather than later, because she might turn out to be one of my favorite characters, alongside Nezuko. So that's it, final verdict for this. You know what? 9 out of 10. Fuck it. 9 out of 10. Great arc. Very short, but very, very enjoyable. Absolutely loved it. Next time, though, next time we're gonna have some fun, because next up is the arc that introduces another one of my most favorite characters in the show. The most wild, rambunctious, and unhinged member of the Slayer Corps, at least the main Slayer Corps, and is voiced by none other than Cat Noir. Yes, Bryce Papenbrook's coming back a third time, so... Yep, we've talked about him as Eren Yeager, we talked about him as Cat Noir, and now we're going to talk about him as Inosuke. That's his name. Inosuke. Yeah, so next time we're going to meet Inosuke, and the hilarity that ensues from there, as well as one of the cooler blood demon arts of the show so far. So, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day. Once again, we are far from done with Demon Slayer. We still have a lot to go. So, I'll see you guys next time when we tackle the next arc, episodes 11 through 14, known as the Suzumi Mansion arc. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm Jack Small of Animation Station. Keep on slaying, and I'll see you next time.